Well, hi again. Gonna go through Appendix 14. I think we were referred to Appendix 14 here in from Appendix 25, and that would be right here, Nephilim. And that has to do, Appendix 14 in its entirety, I guess, is synonymous words used for man. I ask my Father, our Father, that He will guide me according to His will, and I can read okay through this. And I ask it in Yeshua Messiah's name, and amen. We can use many words, but knowing what we're saying and who we're addressing and why we're addressing or asking is something that we don't have to have an exact meaning for necessarily, because there's nothing in the Bible that says that if you don't address God in His proper name that it's a sin. It only means that you're not aware of those different names and different words, but that doesn't disassociate us whatsoever from what our heart and soul is saying or requesting or desiring. So keep that in mind. God is our friend. Christ is our friend. We're basically as one, essentially. So I thank you all for that. I am going to make another attempt to read here. This is my ability to read is just starting to come back to me a little bit, and I think that this is a good way for me to do it. I can both visualize myself reading, and I can practice at it. I am going to do whatever I can do under my own power, and the rest of it I trust our Savior with. If I can't handle it, He can. But I thank God for allowing me the space to do what I can do for myself, and I will do so. So I am going to start on 14, and I'm going to see if I can plow through this okay without making too many errors. And I'm going to read now here from 14 through the phone, and it's a little bit bright outside. Sun's coming in the windows too much here, so just give me a minute. I have to shut the shade, it's too bright, I can't quite read. Okay. Alright. Yeah, that's a little bit better. I can see it through the phone better now, so. Alright, and 14. Synonymous words for man. This is from the Companion Bible, done by Bollinger. If you do decide to pick up a Companion Bible, study Bible, be sure to get a large print edition. Just want to emphasize that fact because the lettering is small. So, and thanks for your patience here. I am going to start reading. There are 4 principal Hebrew words rendered man. These must be carefully discriminated. Every occurrence is noted on the margin of the Companion Bible. They represent him from 4 different points of view. Adam denotes his origin as being made from the dust of Adamah, ground. Latin, I believe that means homo. Number 2, ish has regard to sex, a male. Latin, I believe that's what that means, which you would say ver. Enosh has regard to his infirmities as physically mortal, and as to character incurable. Geber has respect to his strength, a mighty man. Adam without the article denotes man or mankind in general, followed by plural pronoun. With the article, it denotes the man. Adam, the rendered man in Genesis 1:27, and so on, twice in 18:15-19, marginally 22 twice, and so on. Rendered men. After this Hebrew, Adam, man or men, is used of the descendants of Adam, hence Christ is called the sons of Adam, not a son of Enosh. With the particle, right here, F, in addition to the article, it is very emphatic. It means self, very, this same, this very. See Genesis 2:7, first occurrence. Rendered in the Septuagint, anthropos, 411 times, aner, 18 times, 15 in Proverbs, once, thentos, Proverbs 24, dying, 4 times, brotos, mortal, all in Job, once, genes, earthborn, Jeremiah 32:20. Number 2, I think this is a subcategory, or just differentiating the word ish here. First occurrence in feminine, Genesis 2:23. Isha, woman. Therefore, ish, male, or husband. A man in contrast with a woman, a great man in contrast with ordinary men, Psalms 49:2, where low are called the children of Adam, and the high equals the children of Ish. So, Psalm 62:9 and Isaiah 2:9, and etc., when God is spoken of as man, it is Ish. So Joshua 5:13, Daniel, Zechariah, so on, also in such expressions as man of God, man of understanding, and so on. In the early chapters of Genesis, we have it in the chapters 3:22, 24, and 4:1, translated in Septuagint 1,083 times by aner, Latin ver, and only 400 by anthropos, Latin homo. It is rendered husband 69 times, person 12 times, and once or twice, each in 39 different ways. Enosh, which were referred, I'm going to insert something here. Enosh, from 6:4, were referred to this in Appendix 25, I believe it was. Let me double check here. Gibber, yeah, Gibber. Okay. It's not this particular paragraph. It's the next one, number 4. So I'm going to continue in number 3 with the word Enosh. And Enosh, we can go over here. We can see number 3 is Enosh has regard to his infirmities as physically mortal and as to character incurable. Okay. Enosh, first occurrence Genesis 6:4. Men of name, always in a bad sense. Isaiah 5:22 and etc. Morally depraved and physically frail or weak. It is from anash, to be sick, wretched, weak, and denotes inability for strength physically and for good morally. Here's your reference points. Note the contrast, Isaiah 2:11 and 17. the lofty looks of man. Adam shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men, Enosh, shall be bowed down. And gives you reference points. Other instructive passages are Isaiah 6 or 8:1, 6:24, etc. Afflicted or mourners in Jeremiah 17:16. Day of man. It's means a lot there, but in 1 Samuel 4:9, it is probably plural of ish. So probably Genesis 18 and 19, where the indefinite plural must be interpreted by the context, because Adam would have denoted human and ish males. It is rendered man 518 times, certain 11 times, and once or twice, each in 24 other and different ways. Gibber, first occurrence 6:4. You see the little 1 right here. That's going to refer to this right here. The word it would be Gibber, or mighty men. And the quote down here about this in number 1 is Genesis 6:4. We have 3 out of the above 4 words. Daughters of men equals daughters of the man Adam. Mighty men, Gibber. Men of renowned, Hebrew, men Enosh. Of name, for instance, renowned for their moral depravity. This is our reference from Appendix 24, I believe. It's also referenced many times throughout scriptures, this particular appendix. And I'm going to continue reading. I'll read number 4 again. Gibber, first occurrence in Genesis 6:4, mighty men, and denotes man in respect to his physical strength, as Enosh does in respect of the depravity of his nature. It is rendered man 67 times, mighty twice, man-child once, every one once. In the Septuagint, rendered 14 times. Anthropos, and the rest by Aner. For illustrative passages, see Exodus, Samuel, 2 Samuel, Numbers, Chronicles, 2 Chronicles, Ezra. Number 5, Metham, plural, equals adults as distinguished from children and males as distinguished from females. And these are the occurrences. Genesis, Deuteronomy, etc. All of these passages will probably direct you towards the Appendix 14 here. And that completes the read of the appendix from the Companion Bible. Synonymous words for man. And on a side note, I've had a little bit of questions about, a couple small questions about the Bibles that I take notes in. So anytime I refer to these Bibles here, they are the ones that I had to rebind basically myself. I don't think I did a fabulous job at it. And what I do is I derive information from the Companion Bible, from the Strong's Exhaustive Concordance here. I derive information from these sets of books here, dictionaries of various types and very large ones, and other books as well. Some are religious books, some are from the liturgy, some are from scholars and scholarly works, and multi-sets of older dictionaries. I think I get back into the 1800s over here with a couple of these older Bibles here. And I like to word search and find mistakes in dictionaries and etc. So for me, back in, it must have been in the late 80s, is where I ran into a problem with all the notes and diagrams of different subjects and what they mean, definitions, and etc. And what ended up happening is I had so many notes and notebooks in so many different places that I had a problem keeping things in order. So it took me a long time to look up certain things, and I ended up having to purchase, I think this one here, I think I bought this large blank Bible. I think I bought this in the early 90s. What happened is that the notes that I got into with some of the studies that I had done, and this is basically the green lines and things like that. Some of them mean polyscendentons, which means if you go into sorry about that. If you go into Genesis 1:1, for instance, there's something that's called a polyscendenton. And a polyscendenton means that this entire sentence, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is where the polyscendenton is. I could look it up. And what that polyscendenton means basically in the language is that this entire sentence is supposed to be carried over before each preceding, I think that's what it's called, preceding sentence or statement. So every time you read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you see these word end, and I think this is the yes, the word end. The word end here physically means a polyscendenton. And every time that word end occurs, is where this goes all the way back to the beginning of where the polyscendenton is. And it carries itself over, so that entire sentence is read essentially before the before the next sentence is, and that's part of the polyscendenton. So what happened is a lot of these little indications that I had, what I would write into the book, and as you can see, the book got pretty full. There's not much of a border here for the notes and definitions. So what I ended up doing is having to take this book apart after I found another Bible, basically, of the identical type. Oh boy, I don't even know how to say that. I bought one book, filled it up with notes. I didn't have much room, so I knew I needed to purchase another book so I could try to insert blank pieces of paper in between each particular page. So I ended up finding one that had the Apocrypha version, is what you could say. I do read the Apocrypha, by the way. I don't have a problem with the Apocrypha. It's good speed Apocrypha right here. I use it a lot, as you can see. So I took the Apocrypha version of the Bible, I removed all of the pages of that, and then as I was transferring the information, and as I was transferring the extra pages from the original Bible that I had, I ran out of room, of course, because it was well over 1,000 individual pages that I would probably have to put in here. And then I threw those away, the original pieces that were in this Bible here. So I threw these away, and this was the actual Bible cover. I did the leather binding or whatever, but and then I was able to put most of the New Testament in here. So when I was referring to this section, it was a particular study that I was doing about some of the fallen angels and the stars in line with the pyramids, the great stones, etc. So I've been working on that on and off for years and decades. And I have reference material that I will use in the back for basically my own type of indexes. This information is these types of information that I use here are derived from many different sources, and I try to compile them together from Bollinger and Strong's and the books that I aforementioned. Definitions, discrepancies in words, and etc. So I'm pushing my way through the stars slowly and what they mean, and things like that. Equinoxes. I think there's an inner band and an outer band. I can't remember though. Mine kind of escapes me at the moment. But the Bible, you could say, or the story of our existence was at one time contained within the star systems. From what I gather, in my best opinion, is that when the beginning of the Second World Age had started to open, is that there was indications in the skies of this happening, and there were stones, or perhaps this clock of the pyramid indicated when Satan's reign perhaps may have begun. I don't really know, but these are little side studies that I try to understand our Father's Word in as much detail as I can. And it doesn't matter if it has to do with growing. For instance, this was one that had to deal with the growing and the ancient technologies of growing. And part of their problem here and with this is the Tiwakanu, I believe it is. Okay. The thing with the Tiwakanu, at their ancient, their old, the old ways was lost. They believe it was due to a drought or something. I don't physically actually know, but it may have to do with the time when Satan was booted out of heaven, or the flood, or something. But I can't say too much more because I'm not fluent in this completely. But with all of the information of the old technology that used to be available, their growing, for instance, is what I'm referring to, is that they used to use little water troughs in their gardens because the higher elevations got really cold at night. And what they did in the older days, basically, is what they did is they dug troughs of water. The blue would be water, and the green would be what they would plant. I think the measurements were 3 by 3 by 3 or something. So you have 3 feet by 3 feet of water, or is it maybe it was 2 feet? I don't remember. I probably have it wrote down here. But at any rate, what happened was there was a group of archaeologists, I think it was, that discovered this older technology. And reintroduced it to the people in this region because they weren't able to grow or farm on those lands anymore. And the reason why is because it got so cold at night it would kill the vegetation. So what they did with the ancient technology is that the folks who did some of these studies understood what they used to do, and they went there. I think it was in Brazil or South America somewhere. It escapes me at the moment. And they showed them how to start growing their food again, and just to experiment to see if it worked, and it actually did. So they're now utilizing these plantings now to where the sun will warm up the water during the day, and that water would maintain the heat throughout the night and keep the plants alive so that they wouldn't die. And now they're able to grow their own food again. This isn't. Yeah, it looks like I have 2003 wrote down here. Yeah, so and that is part of the reason why when I do a reference and I have these images and etc., that might be for some of the reference material. And again, this reference material that I derived was both from the biblical texts, other quotations, definitions. It can be lexicons or the medical industry. It can be the dinosaurs, for instance. That was kind of an interesting one. On and on, just all the pertinent information that occurs, from the Bible and your notes and your definitions. And as you know, if you look into a subject, you find yourself a little bit inundated with information. So I just consolidated the information into the Bibles, and that's essentially the answer of the question, to where if there's something that's referred to in this paperwork, it's pretty much just all of the paperworks and definitions and stuff, so I can piece this all together the best that I can with as much scholarly work as I can attain, basically. And with that, I guess that would be the close of Appendix 14 with the Companion Bible. And thank you so much, and God bless you.